Welcome to the ECDL Word Processing module, section 2.2.8. Understanding the undo and redo command. The number of times I've seen people make a mistake in a document, not just in Microsoft Word, but almost any program, and rather than immediately undoing that mistake, they do something else to try and correct it. If they've deleted some text and they didn't mean to, rather than undoing that mistake, they've retyped out that whole text. That's inefficient, it's not good practice. So let's see how we do this. Let's take this first paragraph here, and let's say I've highlighted that paragraph, and don't forget this begins with lorem here, just so we know which paragraph it is we're deleting. So I've highlighted that paragraph and then I've deleted it. And then I think, oh, actually I didn't mean to do that. Now it would be really bad practice to then try and start typing out the whole paragraph all over again. That would not be good. So if we make a mistake, let's delete this paragraph again here. Deleted it, it's gone. Straight away, before you do anything else, before you type anything, before you click anything, what you must do is use the undo tool. And what the undo tool does is it goes back one stage. If you can imagine that every action you do, whether it's typing, whether it's formatting, whether it's deleting, whatever it might be, every action you do when you're working on a document is added to a list of actions, and you can go backwards through that list. So you can go back to the previous action and undo it, so you're back to where you were before. Now, where is that button? First of all, we've deleted this first paragraph, so where do we go? Well, right at the top left corner of your screen, above the ribbon where you have the word icon, you have the little save button, you have this little arrow here. And you can see that if I hover over that arrow, it tells you that there is a keyboard shortcut. I strongly advise you remember this keyboard shortcut. If there is only one keyboard shortcut you learn ever, it is this one, the undo. It works in almost every single program. It's a universal shortcut. So it is Control Z. Very easy, because the Z is almost right next to the control button at the bottom left corner. So get your left hand memorizing exactly where that undo button is, so that you can quickly undo anything that you do which might be a mistake. If I click on this arrow or I press Control Z, then you can see I've gone back a stage. So the text that I deleted has been restored. So it might be that, let's say I go up to here and I decide I want to change the colour of the title, like that. And I think, no, I don't like that at all. Instead of highlighting the title and then going back here and thinking, now what colour was it before? Was it this colour? Was it that colour? If you've made a mistake and you want to go back to how it was, then use this little back arrow here and go back a step. And you'll be right back where you were before you made the mistake. Now, I said that you can imagine that every action you take as you're working through a document is added to a list of actions. And that's exactly true, because you'll see that just after this undo button we have a little arrow. And if I click on that arrow, you can actually see a whole list of all of the last actions that I've taken. So I've changed theme colors, I've moved text up, I've typed, I've cleared things, all these different things you can see that I've been doing. And in fact, I can undo any number of these. You can see just under where my mouse is at the moment, it says undo 43 actions. So I can go right back to where I was before I did the last 43 things. So that's really, really useful. Oh, I have just gone back, I think. Now, if you go back and you realize you've gone back too far, you've undone things you didn't mean to undo, you wanted those. So how do you redo them? Well, that's this little arrow just to the right-hand side. So if you've gone back too far and you want to go forwards again, click on this arrow here pointing to the right, and it will take you forwards back to the point where you were before you went backwards too far. So to go backwards in time, if you like, use this left arrow or Control Z, and then if you've gone backwards too far and you want to go forwards a little bit further, use the redo button to the right, and the keyboard shortcut for that is Control Y. Now some people get a little bit confused because they look up here and they see the undo button, no problem, but the redo button is either not there or it's greyed out. What's going on there? Well, simply you've not undone anything so far, and if you haven't undone something you can't redo it. So if you don't go backwards in time you can't go forwards again. So if you find that that redo button is greyed out, it's simply that you have not gone back yet. You haven't undone anything so far, so there's nothing to redo. So if you make a mistake, remember the keyboard shortcut Control Z, undo it straight away. If you can't remember the shortcut for that, then simply use this backward arrow and think of it as going backwards and forwards in time. Remembering of course that unfortunately you can't go forwards beyond the point that you're at so far. Otherwise, if you could do that, you would simply use the redo button and go forwards in time to the point where you had completed your exam without actually ever having done the exam. Sadly, I'm afraid that technology doesn't exist yet, but at least master the undo and redo button, because that itself will save you time.